When I first started playing hit social deduction game Blood on the Clocktower, I was invited to join a game with Cincy Clefable, an up-and-coming stream group. I'm a very socially anxious person, so meeting new people is always hard for me. I went into this first game with this group with no expectations.
What a crazy person.
But one player gave me the warmest welcome any Clocktower player could. Pepper summoned me as the demon, the evil team's captain. I still remember this game as one of the most enjoyable I've ever played, partially because it introduced me to so many wonderful people in the Clocktower community, the very same community that's now banded together to play in a Pokemon Draft League. And this is a special week. My opponent this week is the summoner himself, Pepper, coach of the Cincy Clefable. As a man of few words and papa to a very cute cat, you wouldn't expect him to have an evil team, but he sure does! Pepper has gathered a bulky team that can work in sandstorms, in Trick Room, or as a stall team, and my gaslighting giglets have got to find a way to tear down that wall. Pepper's team features the dynamic duo of Tyranitar and Excadrill, who were once feared as the core of Black and White era sand teams. Tyranitar's Sandstream ability whips up a sandstorm, and Excadrill benefits from the storm with its ability Sand Rush, which doubles its speed in sand. Lilligant has another evil twin! Excadrill can alternatively hit super hard in sand with its ability Sand Force, at the cost of not going first as often. Unless Pepper were to make use of Dusknoir, a ghost-type bulky Trick Room setter, which can reverse the speed of everything on the field. This thing is super slow, or fast in Trick Room, and can hit like a truck with its high attack. A common theme for Pepper's team, with other slow, hard-hitting Pokemon like Snorlax and Exeggutor. Smack in the middle of speed tiers is Metagross, who can work in or out of Trick Room, and has such a high defense stat, it's difficult for anything to touch it without hitting super effectively. Between Metagross and Snorlax, Pepper's built one hell of a wall, and has pulled off stall tactics against other coaches, even in this fast-paced format. Granbull can help slow the opponent down with its attack-cutting Intimidate ability. Blastoise provides bulky support with Fake Out and healing, and Braviary provides a Tailwind option, in case Pepper wants to train his Pokemon to be speedy, instead of bulky. In particular, Typhlosion is the speediest thing on Pepper's team with immediate offensive pressure to buy its partner's time, or, if it's positioned properly, it can sweep through teams all by itself. Slow survivability is the name of the game, and I've got to find a way to cut through it. I want to avoid a situation where I'm unable to touch a bunch of highly defensive Pokemon, so I've committed to hyper-aggression. Go fast, hit hard. While I'm worried about hitting walls, I'm also very aware that I need an answer to Typhlosion if it's holding a Choice Scarf, an item which significantly increases Typhlosion's speed, with the downside that it's locked into the first move it selects. For Typhlosion, much like my own Torkoal, this isn't much of an issue, since most of the time it wants to click Eruption anyway. So I tried to cook up a team that both has an answer to Scarf Typhlosion and will prevent Pepper from stalling me out. Lilligant and Scyther outspeed everything on Pepper's team, so long as they're not holding a Scarf. Lilligant in particular can exert massive offensive pressure. If I threaten to bring Torkoal in to activate Lilligant's Super Speed Chlorophyll mode, then she can outspeed and one-shot a Scarf Typhlosion. But if Typhlosion isn't holding a Scarf, there are better plays that I can make than simply bringing in Torkoal. If only there was an ability which told me what held items Pepper has. Oh, wait, there is! Trevenant's Frisk ability can accomplish exactly that, and warn me about any Choice Scarf shenanigans. But support isn't all this tree can do. Under the right conditions, it can one-shot 8 out of 10 of Pepper's Pokemon. Sorry, I don't think you heard me. 8 out of 10 are threatened by a tree! Trevenant has the option to set Trick Room for Torkoal, but it's also strong as hell! Torkoal brings the sun and threatens ridiculous eruption damage, as always, so long as I can position it properly. And Goodra rounds out offensive options to cover for Granbull and Braviary, which would give me some trouble otherwise. Goodra is also packing a very silly Terra Water Surf combo, which can land some decent neutral damage against Pepper. While Scyther put in some wild offensive work last week, it doesn't have a very good matchup into Pepper, but because it outspeeds everything, it can set up Tailwind before anything moves, and guarantee my Pokemon go first. This bug is truly a utility knife. Pachirisu is here for redirection, but I also deliberately trained it to be slow, so it can safely pivot into my frail attackers. Stand back! Pachirisu will protect you! This is the first time in 4 weeks that I am not bringing my boy Meowstick. I'm valuing the slow pivot that much. I cannot have Lilligant take a heavy hit. Feels like bad luck. It's okay, Meowstick. We'll be alright without you. A lot of his offensive options can easily one-shot my own, and he has at least 2 resistances to every single type. He did a good job putting his team together, and there's no obvious exploitable weakness for me to take advantage of. So this week, we're just gonna have to play some good-ass Pokemon. Hello!
Hi.
Who is Jimmy and who is Timmy?
Sorry, that's Metagross and Typhlosion in order.
That's very cute. Pepper didn't bring Tyranitar or Excadrill. He also didn't bring Braviary or Granbull. I'm honestly a little surprised by this. I never expected Executor to come to this matchup. I just have too much that can threaten the poor thing. Goodra doesn't match up into these 6 though, so Goodra's probably never coming to any of these matches. I lock in my hyper-offensive lead, Lilligant and Trevenant. Combined, the 2 can threaten a one-shot on every single Pokemon that Pepper brought. And sure enough, Pepper leads with Typhlosion, which I was a little bit worried about. Frisk reveals Choice Specs on Timmy and Choice Scarf on Jimmy. I did not expect to see Choice Scarf on Metagross.
Yeah, that being a surprise was definitely something I was hoping for.
What do you think I led with Trevenant? Typhlosion is a big enough problem that I have to prioritize it, or it will sweep me. Unfortunately, Pepper switches in his Dustoar.
Ghost-type moves, like Poltergeist, can't hit normal-type Pokemon, like Snorlax. And normal-type moves and fighting-type moves, like Close Combat, can't hit Ghost-type Pokemon, like Dusknoir!
Because Dusknoir is Ghost type, it is left untouched by Lilligant's Close Combat. This turn is a wash. A trick from Metagross is really funny though. Metagross gives its Choice Scarf to Torkoal, taking its tiny 22 speed to 33 speed. Whoa!
You know, that's the fastest Torkoal that's ever been.
It does mean that anytime I click something with Torkoal, it's locked into the move. Against Dusknoir and Metagross, I threaten a lot of damage with Eruption. I had calculated this to be a one-hit KO on Dusknoir, but that was before Torkoal lost his Charcoal, which buffed its fire attacks. Dusknoir lives on 1 health. Huge! Typhlosion gets a nice little boost. It also turns out that Dusknoir is holding a red card. If you hit a Pokemon with red card, the Pokemon you hit it with will be switched out. It's a cool bit of disruptive tech, and it also means that I have 2 grass types sitting in front of a very scary Typhlosion. We love seeing Earthquake hurt people's teammates. Poor Typhlosion. Once again, I cannot let this Typhlosion get a hit off. I have to target it. And Dusknoir reveals Shadow Sneak, a priority move that's super effective against poor Trevenant. Because Dusknoir has used up its item, that red card, Poltergeist will not work against it. So if I want to kill it, I'm forced to use Woodhammer, which I do. I'm left in a great position here. My Lilligant can one-shot the Snorlax, and Trevenant threatens a one-hit kill on Metagross. But Snorlax has a Ghost Terra. That is, it can change its typing from normal to Ghost, which is immune to fighting types. But, oh yeah, you already used your Terra, didn't you?
No?
Oh, never mind. I'm dumb.
Can't hit Ghost-type Pokemon!
I don't know why I thought Pepper used his Terra, but he sure didn't! This is bad. Unfortunately, Torkoal doesn't have Charcoal anymore, so even though he's in Sun, his Fire-type moves won't do as much damage against these 2 very bulky Pokemon. Heat Wave still threatens a one-hit KO on Metagross though, and I recognize that because Torkoal has specs, whatever move I click here is going to be the only move that I can click for the rest of the match. Heat Wave is enough! Metagross goes down. I'll be so real with you besties, I probably should have helping handed that Heat Wave to do more damage to Snorlax. It all comes down to whether my Torkoal is faster than Snorlax or not, which is really funny because Pepper gave me a Choice Scarf. Pepper also trained his Snorlax to be slow because a lot of his Pokemon are designed to operate in Trick Room. Who is faster? The minimum speed Snorlax or the Choice Scarf Turtle?
There's only one button to press. Oh my goodness.
Shit! Fuck!
Snorlax can only get down to 35 speed.
But Snorlax is faster. And that's game. I made a couple dumb moves. We live, we learn, we watch Snorlax belly drum. I need to make some adjustments after that game 1, so I try to go for a speed control set. Scyther is here as support to click Tailwind and Helping Hand. While both Lilligant and Scyther outspeed Blastoise and Typhlosion, Blastoise has Fake Out pressure, and I do not want it to fake out my Lilligant to help Typhlosion get 2 free kills. So I double protect, a very safe play. Thankfully this alleviates the Fake Out pressure, and I was very right to do the double protect. But this does mean that there is a Typhlosion on the field armed and ready to kill. If I let it get off a hit, it will sweep me. I have no choice but to go for a kill on it, just like in game 1. And whiff again! I keep clicking obvious buttons, so Pepper keeps clicking obvious answers.
Like Dusk Noir!
Never punished is what I would say, but I'm super punished. This turns out a complete wash because I can get Tailwind up with Scyther at least. I'm hesitant to click close combat on Snorlax because I feel like if I do, I might get punished by a Protect and then a KO from Dusk Noir. I'm getting in my head here. So Protect into U-turn it is. I need to get another attacker on the field. When I clicked U-turn, I kind of thought that I could bring Torkoal in and start getting some crazy eruptions going. But unfortunately, I kind of forgot about Dusk Noir's red card, which doesn't give me a choice in who comes back out onto the field. Trevenant's here, and I can't Protect with Lilligant again. I go for the obvious close combat on Snorlax, and end up catching a crit on Blastoise. That crit mattered. Pepper is running some very bulky sets. The Poltergeist on Typhlosion didn't matter as much, I think. But good lord, that is some good fortune. If I were Pepper, I would be tilted. Both Lilligant and Trevenant threaten one-hit KOs on both of these Pokemon, but we've been here before. I get in my own head. I think Snorlax might click Protect, giving Dusk Noir a chance to one-hit KO her. Tailwind's about to peter out as well, meaning that Trevenant won't be going first after that. So I switch over to Scyther to try to give myself the option of resetting up my Tailwind, as well as lock in Poltergeist to try to take out Dusk Noir before next turn. But I am an idiot, because Poltergeist fails if the opposing Pokemon is not holding an item! And guess what Dusk Noir used earlier this game? It's Red Card to drag out my Trevenant! I cannot believe that I clicked Poltergeist on a Pokemon that I knew wasn't holding an item. Ah! That paralysis on Scyther could be bad, though. Paralysis halves your Pokemon's speed. I second guess myself, and finally think maybe I can use a slow U-turn to my advantage. Torkoal is the absolute slowest Pokemon in the draft. Instead of clicking Tailwind, maybe I can click Trick Room and set up Torkoal for a sweep. Was my line of thinking. But it turns out the U-turn was very fast. I decide I would rather take the hit on Torkoal than on Lilligant, so Torkoal it is. Sure enough, a critical hit on Torkoal does so much damage. I've played so poorly I threw away any lead that I had. Snorlax's belly drum seals the deal. I am staring down a monster. I want to get off a little bit of damage with Torkoal in this Trick Room, but once again, my inexperience comes back to bite me. While locking in my moves, I forget that Dusk Noir has Shadow Sneak, a priority move, and it does more than enough to KO Torkoal. Woodhammer does a good chunk of damage, but the recoil from Woodhammer puts Trevenant in range of getting Shadow Sneak to death. I was freshly reminded that Shadow Sneak exists. My only way to win is to get Lilligant on the field outside of Trick Room. I have to stall out Trick Room in order to win, and that's very difficult to do in this position. Now that we're in Trick Room, Scyther's U-turn is slow. Because it's the fastest thing on the field, it's the slowest thing on the field. I click U-turn with the hopes of a slow pivot, but unfortunately that monster of a Snorlax takes Scyther out. I tried to reset Trick Room with Trevenant here, but Pepper just has way too much damage on the field. Trevenant can't survive a hit, and with that, I've pretty much lost. My only chance is to click Protect again, and again. My own Trick Room has given Pepper so much offensive pressure. I play to my outs with Protect, on the 33% chance that it actually works. But of course, good luck can only run so far, and Pepper takes game 2. I didn't realize that you did so much damage to Torkoal. I thought that I could Trick Room, get Torkoal in, and then just fuck you up. It did not work.
Yeah, your threats were so strong, I felt like I could only really prep for a few of them, and it was Torkoal and Lilligant. Lilligant was the threat that I was like, it's so strong that even with my prep, I don't know if I can answer it. And it was very much the thing that was getting played around there. I felt like my windows to win were very narrow, so I had to make some more aggressive plays. Your things hit hard enough that Dusknoir is not a tank against your team. So I couldn't have brought a tanky Dusknoir to set up Trick Room either. If I wanted Trick Room up, I would either have to work really hard to get into the right situation for Executor or rely on you putting it up. And I didn't think you would go for it unless you felt you were in a bad spot, which I think is what happened.
That's exactly what happened. Extremely good games. You done got me with your switch-ins.
Yeah, they were closer than the set would say. Bye.
Bye. Pepper has a great sense for the game. I played poorly, and he played amazingly. He absolutely deserves this win. I learned a lot this week, though. While my hyper-offensive strategy worked in concept during my preparation, in practice, Pepper was able to skillfully outmaneuver me. I need more practice playing the game itself, rather than just grinding out calculations each week. All the calculations in the world won't help me if I don't click the right buttons in the right order. This week marks the first time that an opponent someone beat won against an opponent they lost to. Look at these goddamn standings, man! The Dark Claw's agency still hasn't dropped a game, which means that the Gaslight and Giglets are no longer number one. But it's close. It's so incredibly close. Making it to finals is going to be much more competitive than I realized. Feckin' hype! I'm going to come out of this week a better trainer than ever, and I intend to give my next opponent, Pangham's in his King's Court, a run for his money. His Empoleon may have made a grand return from the taxidermy office, but I'm ready to put everything I've learned to practice against him. And I'll remember my typing chart this time. Probably.